I am here with $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase is in town for NWO Upstate. Ted DiBiase, thank you for being on WrestleVision.
Great to be with you, man.
You just ran a pretty good camp today with the Upstate wrestlers and some other folks who decided to show up. And how did it go?
It went very well. A lot of newcomers. I think I got the attention of some of these kids who think they want to be wrestlers, and of course I encourage it. What I try to tell them is, to do anything, whether it's wrestling or if you want to be a rocket scientist, you have to be passionate about it. And I try to find out if they're passionate about it. So I kind of put them through the paces today, and I think some of them found out that they are passionate about it, and some of them find out they might want to do something else.
You talk about passion. You are a motivational speaker. You tour the country for the Heart of David Ministries. Talk a bit about, for folks out there who are not familiar with your motivational speaking.
Well, I am an ordained minister, and I am extremely passionate about sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. I gave my heart to the Lord in 1992, and it was at a time when even though I was at the height of my career, my personal life was falling apart, and turning back to God and back to Christ, it saved everything. It rejuvenated everything in my life, and I never dreamed in a million years that I would, not only become a Christian, but that I would end up being a minister. And so I try to go, and even more than the wrestling, I go around the country sharing the gospel. I mean, I talk to kids that are in juvenile detention centers. I talk to guys that are in maximum security lockdown in prison. I talk to a lot of men and to married couples as well. One of the things that came out of my giving my life to Christ was that my marriage was salvaged, and my wife and I are probably the best of friends today.
You did a biography, Every Man Has His Price. How was the book writing experience for you?
Well, actually, or so I've been told, that when I came out with my book originally in like '96, I was kind of the trendsetter, that after I came out with my book that many books there followed, although at the time my book was not being endorsed by the WWE. It was written by a Christian book publishing company, and now I'm part of the Legends category with the WWE, and they have agreed to do a rewrite, and bring everybody up to speed. So this book I'm excited about. It's in the process of being done. It should be out like by November, in time for Christmas, and it's a lot more of the wrestling side of my life. I mean, I will share my faith in the book, but I think it'll be a much more in-depth book than the original book, and I'm excited about it.
Is there any one message that, from the first time you originally wrote the book, that folks who are not familiar, who have not read the book, is there like one message that you wanted the book to get out?
Well, yeah, basically that without Jesus Christ in your life, you're headed down a one-way street going nowhere. I know that sounds kind of crass, but if you're a true Christian, then you believe, that there's only one way to heaven, and that's through Jesus Christ. He said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man come to the Father except through me." And at some time in our life, we all have to ask ourselves that question and then answer it. Either you believe it or you don't. And in examining the evidence that's available, I found that there's no other faith on the planet that even comes close to the reality of who Christ is and what Christianity is.
You have another big honor coming up this year. You're inducted to the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Amsterdam, New York. That is quite an honor. You're going to share the company with some great wrestlers. I know you and Roddy Piper this year. Talk about your feelings when you heard that news.
I was very excited about it. There's nothing more flattering than to be honored by your own peers. A lot of fans can tell you're great, and of course I appreciate the fans, always have. But when your own peers honor you and lift you up as being one of the best, then it's a pretty special honor. And to be inducted along with Roddy Piper, who's been a longtime friend, is an honor as well. I mean, not to mention the other guys that I share that honor with. I mean, guys that I looked up to as a kid growing up, and I've always been passionate about wrestling, having been raised in a wrestling family, and now I have two boys, as I think are also aspiring wrestlers and being trained by Harley Race, and they're about to make their first trip to Japan in late March for 5 weeks, and I'm excited for them as well. And who knows? Everybody always asks me, they say, "Gosh, Teddy, are you ever going to be back on TV?" And I go, "Well, am I going to wrestle again? No. You can rest assured I'm not going to wrestle again, but I might show up in the corner of one of my boys. You never know."
Talk about them going to Japan. You've had some great matches and success in Japan. What kind of, I don't want to say advice, what did you tell them for their first trip over there?
Well, I just told him, I said, you know, respect is a thing that you earn. It's not just given to you. And I said, you know, be humble. Nobody cares that your name is DiBiase. It's kind of like, you know, you can't earn a reputation based on who your dad was. You know, as a matter of fact, it probably is going to be harder for you. You know, you got to step it up, and you got to step into the shoes, but you got to make your own name and your own way in life, and just be humble and work hard, and you can be anything you want to be if you work hard enough and willing to sacrifice for it. And they seem to be doing that. I'm hopeful. You never know.
You've wrestled with some of the greatest. You've managed some of the greatest in the wrestling business. One in particular, Andre the Giant, mythical figure. Stories are folklore. Is there anything you can share with us? Any stories of Andre the Giant you can share with us?
I do have a story. It's a pretty funny story. It'll probably be in the book as well. But I'm in Japan with Andre, and I understand that Andre is 7 feet 4 inches tall, 450 pounds, and I'm a giant in Japan. Now you can imagine how big Andre is, and you know, the one thing a great big man like that doesn't want to be is crowded. So we've just had a 14-hour trip to Japan on a plane, and we check into the hotel and check in, and we drop our bags in the room, and I get on the elevator with Andre, and as it stops on each floor, the elevator gets more and more. I mean, it's like what we call a crowded elevator is nothing compared to Japan. I mean, we're talking about a country the size of California and half the population of the United States. I mean, they really load it. So as this elevator gets more and more crowded, Andre's not getting happy. He's not a happy camper, and they're kind of rude, right? So he looks down at me and winks, and I go, oh my gosh, what's he going to do? And all of a sudden, Andre breaks wind, and I mean loud and long. And then the next thing you hear is, ho, 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 ho. He just starts laughing. I'm dying. But the really funny thing is I look around the elevator. It's almost like he turned all these Japanese people to stone. They just went stone-faced like this. They looked straight ahead. But when the door of that elevator opened, brother, it was like the Exodus. Wow. You know, you had to be there to really appreciate it.
Oh, no, I can definitely picture it with Ron Jeremy. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Actually, the pancake breakfast, I think, was this weekend. But I'm going to be as a guest of what they call Triple X Church in Atlanta next in March. I'm going to be there for it's a debate. They're going to bring Ron Jeremy in, this I guess worldwide known porn star, and debate him on pornography. And I'm really looking forward to this. You know, I'm really anxious to give Ron a piece of my mind.
Ted, thank you very much. It's a pleasure sitting next to you, and I wish you the best luck with everything. And again, thank you for talking with us on here on WrestleVision.
Thank you very much. And remember, everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.